People who spend at least 2 hours in nature each week report significantly better health and well-being. When it comes to the mental health benefits of nature, science suggests that the most efficient drop in cortisol happens between the 20 to 30 minute mark. So it is recommended that to get the 2 hours a week, it should be at 20 plus minutes at a time. Well, welcome back to beautiful Vancouver Island, everyone. Fall is upon us here. The salmon are still running up the rivers to spawn, the bear activity is high, the leaves are changing color, and the days are getting shorter. I'm in the middle of moving into mine and my husband Brian's new home, so life feels a bit chaotic right now, which means carving out time to spend in nature is both extra challenging right now and extra necessary. Hey guys, I'm just finishing getting ready to go out for a little day hike, and my life has actually been quite hectic lately. On top of working full-time, I'm also in the middle of moving, and it's just a lot. There's just a lot going on. So I'm tired and I don't have a lot of spare time, so I currently don't feel really like going out at all. I just feel like taking a nap. But I know that every time I go out in nature, I always feel the positive effects, usually within like 30 seconds of being out there. But sometimes just this initial push to get there just feels really tough. So today I only have an hour to get out and spend time out in nature, and I just don't have more than that to allocate to it. So I want to make the most of it, and I want to go to a local trail that I love. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, we can do it. Short outside time, it's going to be worth it. Okay, let's go. So the trail I decided to do today is probably about a 10-minute drive from my new house, so it's really close to town. It's a community trail and it's really beautiful. And I'm gonna try to do the whole loop, which is about 5 kilometers, I think. So it'll probably take me about an hour. Here I go, first few steps on trail. It's been about a minute. And I'm already smiling more. I already feel calmer. Like I mentioned at the start of this video, people who spend at least 2 hours in nature, 20 plus minutes at a time each week report significantly better health and well-being. Nature time is considered any meaningful contact with nature, whether it be sitting on a park bench or hiking up a mountain peak. That means that defining nature time is person specific, since the only requirement is that it needs to feel meaningful to you. Here are a few more interesting stats for you. 90% of us say we're happier when we're outside, and stress hormone levels drop significantly after just 15 minutes of sitting in a forest. Increasing nature time reduces risk of developing heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes. Spending time in nature boosts memory, creativity, and work satisfaction. Spending time in the forest drops inflammation and stress in adults with COPD and reduces the risk of lung infections. Nature therapy improves psychological well-being of cancer patients and activates tumor-killing cells. Seniors who live closer to walkable green spaces live longer. Oh, should we see if there's any salmon running? Oh yeah, there are. You can always spot salmon here. Ooh, and there's seagulls. This is one of my favorite viewing spots because you can be on the bridge and see the salmon swimming by. I'm really glad I came out here. It was very difficult for me today to make the time, prioritize it, and prioritize the energy it would take to get me here. I'm already so happy I did. There's so much activity today. I think a whole bunch of these fish are spawning right here. You can see them like digging their nests. there's a whole other cluster of like 12 salmon right here. Whenever I've hiked thousands of kilometers across a country, I always end up hiking through towns, cities, and their surroundings. I'm always impressed by how many towns have such beautiful local and accessible trails. It brings me great joy to see locals out enjoying them, and they are often some of the most enjoyable hiking I have along the trail. I, of course, love the backcountry and the feeling of being deeply immersed in nature for days on end, but that doesn't discount or discredit how much I enjoy spending time in all nature. And the facts speak for themselves. If I get out on a local trail for at least 20 minutes, I really start to feel the health benefits. That's the hard part of this trail. Lots of stairs here. That was so wild. I was walking along the trail, I turned a corner, and I said out loud to myself, oh, it smells like a bear. Look to the right, and there was a bear 20 feet away from me, and it was small, so I was worried that there was a mum around. So I was swiveling my head, checking everywhere, never saw a mum, but I did see 3 people walking towards me, so I met up with them, keeping my eye on the bear. Thank you all so much for commenting on last week's video. I was so happy that so many of you said that you're still really keen to see what I create now, even though I'm changing the direction of my videos a little bit with much less through hiking content coming your way for a while. And I'm just so happy you're excited too, because I'm so excited to be here. Like, isn't it incredible that I'm on a local trail and I saw salmon spawning and seagulls diving in the river and bears? This is an incredible place. Like, I'm so excited to be here. I feel really settled and happy to be here, and really excited to share it with you and to take my time to really dig deeper into things. Because when I'm through hiking, I have to move through everything so fast because I have to get the kilometers done if I'm doing like 4,000 kilometers. So I can't dive into the same detail I would like to when it comes to showing you the nature and talking about it. So I'm really, really excited for that. And I loved all your different ideas for videos you'd like to see. I'm really excited to try to make as many of them happen as possible. I'm stoked so many of you are interested in winter camping, so I'll definitely be getting out and doing that. I gotta dig out my winter tent. And also other activities like kayaking and canoeing. I haven't done them in so long, but it'd be so fun to do them and take you out with me, because the ocean is a huge part of this area. So that's really exciting. Yeah, you had really great ideas. So I'm gonna work hard to implement those into my future videos. And if you think of any more ideas you'd like to see, please just comment anytime. I'll be monitoring them. And if any idea comes to you, let me know in the comments. Okay, I was just double checking this. So I did get a request for the Juan de Fuca Trail, which I have done, and there's a video on it. So check out here, should be up here, the link to that video. It's an awesome trail. And then also there was a request for the Golden Hind, which is the tallest mountain on Vancouver Island. And I actually have already made a video on that too, a couple years ago. So check that out here. It should be the video of my husband, Brian, and I summiting it. It's a really, really cool place. Okay, I think I had enough of a rest here at the top of the climb. So let's keep going, because the sun is setting a lot earlier now since the time change. So I'm only halfway. I better get going. Here we go. Hard part's done. When I'm experiencing more difficulty motivating myself to get outside, or even just finding the time, I often make little adjustments to make it easier for myself. For example, I might wear more comfortable clothes, bring snacks, take more breaks, and go gentler on myself on those days. I used to put a lot of pressure on how much I did physically when connecting with nature, but that ended up deterring me from spending more time outside. So I take away any expectations and just do what I need to take care of myself to get me started. I've gotten to a trailhead before, hiked for 5 minutes, and then turned around when it just felt like too much for me that day, and that is okay. Wow. So beautiful. I wanted to take a moment to talk more about the health benefits of nature and how it is so beneficial that there's this whole program that's been developed by healthcare professionals in conjunction with BC Parks Foundation, the PARX. I think it's an international initiative, and British Columbia has its own kind of local organization. And basically what it is it's a formalized way for healthcare providers to be able to prescribe time in nature, which means there's a lot of actual evidence to show that it improves health outcomes. And I just think that's amazing, especially considering time in nature is really the only criteria. So it doesn't mean you need to do a run or a hike. You could sit beside a plant, you could sit in the forest, just be out in nature, and it will still create those benefits for your health. Interestingly, something I've actually heard a lot from either people I run into on the trail or people who watch my YouTube channel is that they're comparing themselves to what I'm doing, especially when I'm doing like a long distance hike. So I'm doing, 30K days or something like that. And they downplay what they're doing. So they say, oh, well, it's not nearly as good as what you're doing, or I'm obviously not getting the same level of health benefits as you because I'm not out here for 12 hours a day. I'm only out here for an hour. And the reality is that any time spent out in nature is really good for you. And I think worrying about a certain level of intensity or epicness can actually hinder sometimes actually getting out because you're maybe putting too much pressure on yourself. I know I've fallen victim to that a lot of times. And I know that it's not accessible for everyone to go out into nature, especially like this. I try to capture the essence of what it's like to be out here so that you kind of feel like you're here with me, and then you can get those positive benefits trickling to you, hopefully. At least that's my goal. I'm on the final stretch now, and I'm going quick because it's actually starting to get dark. I got a whiff of what smelled like a bear again. No! No! Hey! 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 That was the closest I've ever physically been to a bear in my life. I will tell you more about the encounter once I get into the car. I'm almost there. I'm just quickly walking, scanning, because they are literally everywhere right now because of the salmon run. All right, final bridge. Okay, the doors are locked. I am safe in my car, and I absolutely have to debrief that bear encounter with you before I forget what happened. So I'm walking along, I'm like 5 minutes from my car, and the trail curved to the right, and there was like a stump and a tree on the right, so you couldn't see behind it. But I was smelling the smell of a bear again, so I was, alert to that. And I step around the corner around where the stump was, and the bear growled. I've never heard a bear growl in the wild before. And its head was, I kid you not, 4 feet from my right leg. It was the closest I've ever physically been to a bear in my life, and I've seen a lot of bears in my life. And I have never, ever had the instinct to run from a bear before, but this time I did. My body immediately started to run. I made it 2 steps before my smart brain kicked in, and I realized, oh, you're gonna trigger the predator response. Stop doing that. I stopped, I turned, I faced it, and I started yelling at it. And it had been starting to come towards me, and as soon as I did that, it backed up a couple steps, and it looked like a little unsure, a little skittish, and then it just stood there for a bit as I backed up and yelled. And then I heard people behind me about 100 meters yelling to let me know they were there as well. So I just kept yelling, backed up, and the bear just stayed in spot for a bit, and then it started walking across the trail to get down to the river, which of course that's what its goal was, to go and get some fish. There's salmon spawning, right? So there's just salmon everywhere. So I meet up with the people and we're chatting, and they were telling me what happened when they first saw that bear, and then they were telling me about a time they were stalked by a cougar. And so we were chatting for a bit, and I was trying to keep my eye on the bear, but I lost sight of it at one point. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna check where that bear went. And I took like 4 steps to look down towards the river because that's where I'd seen it go. And it was either like the same bear or a second bear was like 10 feet down the bank from us. So either that bear had got to the river and then walked along the bank towards us and we just couldn't quite see it, or there was a second bear right there that we hadn't even noticed yet. And I was like, we gotta get out of here. Like, no more chatting, we gotta go. So we walked away all together and made noise. It wasn't scary in the sense that I ever felt like the bear was actually going to attack me. It never charged me. It never actually, you know, tried to bite me or swipe at me or anything. I think it was just startled just as much as I was. I don't think it sensed me coming, and I didn't sense it coming, and I got in its path, and that's why it growled at me. I was just too close to it for its comfort. But it was scary in the sense that I was physically way too close to that bear for my comfort. Like, my physical body was too close. I could have, if I reached out, I could have pet it on the head. Obviously I would never do that, but that's how close it was. So that really got my adrenaline going. Okay, thank you so much for joining me on this video. I will wrap it up here. I really appreciate you being here, and I'm really glad today was a filming day because it gave me that little boost of encouragement I needed, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye!